Hey, what's up guys? BJ Dell back with an all-new Cartooning 101 video. Today's video starts the Cartooning 101 section of drawing bodies. I think it's the most requested section of the cartooning series, and I think probably because a lot of people have problems with drawing bodies. So today's video is going to be a little bit different because we're actually going to start out learning just basic human anatomy, basic human proportions. So it's going to be a little bit more on the realistic side, but these are going to be kind of the building blocks and fundamentals that you need to understand where everything goes. So further down the line, we can change them up into more kind of zany and crazy proportion cartoons. So we're going to be using the 8-head method today. It's a tried and true exercise that kind of helps you place where everything goes. So if you want to learn all about that and more, keep watching. Right guys, let's go ahead and get started. This video is the first in the how to draw body section of Cartooning 101. Today's a little bit different though, because we're going to talk about drawing semi-realistically, I guess you would say. I think it's important to have the basic fundamentals and principles under your belt as far as basic human proportions go. So we're going to be using the 8-head method today. I'm using the iPad Pro 12.9-inch first gen model along with the app Procreate and the Apple Pencil. I'm going to be using the cartoon sketch pencil that's part of my brush pack on Gumroad. And this 8-head method, it's been around for centuries, and basically the idea is that the size of the human body height-wise is 8 heads tall stacked on top of each other, and then we can use this as a guideline to kind of help us see where everything else goes. This is a little cheat sheet that I made up for you, a little template, a learning tool that I'm actually going to make available on Gumroad. I'll put the link in the description for that, and you can download it for free. It's not going to cost you a dime, and I'm going to have the blank one along with the female body that we're going to do and the male body, so that way you have 3 different sheets to go off of. If you're using digital art programs, you can just import that in and use it to kind of sketch over. Or if you're doing traditional and just using a piece of paper and a pencil, you can print this out at home as well and kind of use it as a drawing template. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I want to do is kind of split this in half so we know exactly where everything goes. So I'm just going to draw a line from the top of the head right here down just a little bit past the crotch and hip joints wrist line, so number 4. So that's going to give us the basic kind of layout where everything's going to go. It's going to give us that middle line there. So from here, let's go ahead and just kind of sketch in the head starting out, top of the head touching up here, and then the chin coming down to this line here. So we've got our basic head shape right there. So this one's going to be the female one. So the one thing to keep in mind with the female versus the male, female's shoulders are going to be a little bit closer together. Hips are going to be a little bit wider. It's going to have more of that hourglass shape to it. So I think using the basic principles like this are really good to start out with, because then understanding kind of the human form and human anatomy, you can start changing proportions and doing kind of more zany cartoon stuff using these same basic drawing techniques. So next up, let's go ahead and do the shoulders. So we're going to go ahead and draw in just a circle on the left-hand side and a circle on the right representing the shoulders. Then from here, let's go ahead and do the elbows next. So these are going to be broken up by that line here. The elbows are actually going to sit on top of the line 3. So let's go ahead and get those in there. And then the wrists are going to be split by line 4. So we'll get those drawn in there like so. Now from here, we can go ahead and just draw kind of a curved line up here connecting the top of those 2 circles to give us the kind of arch of the shoulders. Then if you want to, from here, you can go ahead and draw lines connecting these circles so you can kind of start to see the shape that arm is going to take like so. Next up, let's go ahead and get the kind of upper torso knocked in here. So what we're going to do, starting from this line here, we're going to turn this into basically a triangle, but we're going to add a little bit more of a curve to it. So it's going to come down and meet that center line at the belly button line, line number 3. Pull this around like so. It's going to almost have kind of a shield-esque look to it. And then we're going to do the same thing for this bottom region here where the pelvis is. So we're going to start from here and go down towards that bottom line. Like so. And you can even draw a circle in here if you want to kind of help you flesh that out a little bit more. So now we've got the upper portion and we've got the bottom portion. And then next to here we can draw a couple circles in. This is going to kind of help us see where those hip joints are. Let's pull out a little bit then, and let's go ahead and do the bottom of the knees next. Those are going to sit on line number 6. So we'll draw those in. And then pulling further back, let's go ahead and do the ankle joints. And those are going to be broken up by this dotted line down here. Like so. And then same thing here. If you want to, you can go ahead and throw in those lines so you can see where everything is going to kind of fall. So from this point, we've basically got a pretty basic stick figure, for kind of lack of a better word there. But you can kind of see the overall shape that the body's going to take. So let's go ahead and go back up to this top part, and we'll get the breasts kind of knocked in here. So line 2 is going to be the nipples. So when you do the breasts, kind of want those to line up correctly to where the nipples would fall. Bring those in towards the center. Like so. And now we can go ahead and bring these shoulders down after we do the neck. So the neck's going to come down kind of at a triangle like so. And then from there where it connects, we're going to pull that off and away and start to wrap it around the shoulders. So like I said, with the female character, the shoulders are going to be just a little bit tighter together than the males. They're going to be closer. Of course, this all depends on the type of character you're doing. You know, you might have a skinnier character or a heavier set character. So it all depends on the character that you are doing. So definitely keep that in mind as you're going through with it. So from here, let's go ahead and pull this down. Upper arm is going to pull down into that elbow like so. And now this part here, we're going to bring it in from the side there towards that elbow. Now that we've got that, let's go ahead and pull the center portion here and kind of start to work on this hourglass shape. So where it comes in towards the navel here, you're going to pull it in, and then it's going to start to pull back out at the hips. And then you want to follow this line down into the knees down here. So it's just going to be one basic shape down and around like this. And that's where it comes into the knee. And then we can go ahead and pull this back into the crotch area here, connecting down into the knee again. Now with these, the calves, you'll see the bottom of the calf muscles are down here. So where it meets the knee, it's going to kind of pull out a little bit and then come back in towards that ankle. So you want the bottom of the calf muscle to kind of start pulling in right there at that line, like so. And then from here, we can go ahead and just get the feet knocked in. It's going to be pretty basic as far as the overall character goes. We're just going more for the shape. So we're not going to go crazy with details or anything like that on this one. It's just going to be pretty simple. So there we go. Let's go ahead and finish up the arms and then the hands. So as this comes down around, much like the calf muscles, we want this forearm to come back out. It's going to meet kind of closer where that elbow is and then come back out. You want to be careful not to get it too big though, because it's going to look very muscular and you're going to lose that feminine quality to it. So just bring those in and then slightly back out and then slightly back in. You just want a small curve there. Then from there we can go ahead and kind of block in our hands here. Like I said, not getting too detailed. Just get those in here. And give her a few more fingers there. All right, so that is going to be our basic female character. Now, this is a really good learning exercise because this, you know, right now looks a little superhero-ish. So, you know, if you throw like a X in there, you could see this being kind of that superhero costume. But if we drop the opacity of this down and kind of draw on top of this, you can see how you could use this to just kind of flesh out where everything goes. Let's actually, put her in some regular clothes here, some street clothes. So we've got, the t-shirt coming up here, and do it around the top here. So that's why this method is really good, just because once you start drawing, regular characters, it will help you kind of visualize where everything goes. So we can go ahead and actually, let's give her some shorter shorts here. As you can see, this is a really easy way to start making your characters and kind of visualizing and making sure everything is exactly where it needs to be. So let's go ahead and turn that layer off then. And then the next up is going to be the male character. So much like we started the female one, we're going to draw a line from the top of the head just down below line number 4 to kind of split everything in half. Then let's go ahead and kind of block in where the head goes here. The male is going to be a little bit different than a female. Like I said, wider shoulders, a little bit more blocky overall. So keep that in mind as you're drawing the male and the female. Of course, not going to have that same hourglass shape on the hips either. It's going to be just a little bit different. So now that we've got that in there, let's go ahead and get the shoulders in. So you'll see we're going to go over further with the shoulders than we did with the female. Make those just a tad bit bigger here. And then we can connect those just like we did with the female character there over the top. Like so. From here then, let's go ahead and get the elbows in just like we did with the female. So sitting on top of line 3 here. Put those in. And then same thing with the wrists here. We'll get those in as well. And if you want to, once again, you can go ahead and just throw those lines in to kind of visualize where your arms are coming out of. And then from here, let's go ahead get the crotch area in. It's going to look a little bit different. We went up here like this with the triangle for the females. For the males, we're going to make it more of kind of like a trapezoid, almost like a kind of home base look from baseball. So it's really going to kind of just look like a pair of boxer briefs, just the overall kind of underwear shape there. And then for the chest area, obviously we're not going to do the breasts here, but if we pull down and around into another kind of trapezoid shape here with a nice little curve to it, that's going to give us the overall shape of where the chest goes. Once again, line 2 is going to be the nipples, so if you put those in there, you can see that everything is pretty well lined up. So from here, let's go ahead and pull the neck down. Neck's going to come down a little bit straighter than the females, and then once again, it's going to curve off here into the shoulder area, like so. And then we're going to pull this down and around a little bit below line 2 to kind of give those muscles some shape on that upper shoulder. From here then, let's go ahead and pull this muscle out and down. Once again, with the female like that, it's going to kind of come down at a curve where it connects. Same thing with this, you're going to have a curve. Now, of course, with this, it's up to you what kind of character you're doing, how muscular they're going to be. You might have larger, muscles, smaller arms, just depending on the character. And then same thing here. You're going to pull out and away from that elbow to do that forearm. But once again, just be careful as far as how far you pull out. It's going to really kind of define the overall shape of your character. If you pull out too much, it's going to look, like really muscular, really big. So just kind of, like I said, depends on what type of character you're doing. And then we're going to pull in stomach here on the sides down to the abdomen here where it's going to meet that waist. So now that we've got that top section pretty well done, let's go ahead and do the knees here. So sitting on line 6, we'll do the knees, and then the ankle joints broken up here by that dash line on line 8. Let's go ahead and throw the circles in here for the joints. then if you want to do the lines once again there, feel free to do that. And then we're going to pull down the thighs in. These are going to come down into the knee. Coming up and meeting the crotch and pulling down into the knee here. Like so. And you see, it's not as much of an hourglass. We had wider hips for the female in the way that everything came out. And you see here too, I'm not blocking in the muscles in the abdomen just because this is just more for, you know, overall proportions. If you need more help with the muscles, definitely look up some reference photos. With doing this, it's more just to kind of give you the overall proportions of the body, seeing how the joints can be laid out, you know, with these kind of templates and tools. And then you'll get more comfortable later on going in and actually creating your own circles. That's how I start out doing everything, even if it's just a really crazy zany cartoon character. That's a good way to kind of get everything laid out so you can visualize it. So that's the whole idea kind of behind using this method, is to get you guys accustomed to that. And then the last thing we need to do is go ahead and throw in the hands here. So get those in here. And there we go. So there is your basic male shape. Once again, we could turn down the opacity on this, draw some clothes on there, and it's going to give you, you know, a pretty well proportioned character to base everything on. So that's it for today's tutorial as far as using the 8-head method. Like I said, hop on over to Gumroad after the video, download these. They're available for free on there, and then we will pick up next time. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate the heck out of you. If you like today's video too, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out when I post new videos. And speaking of new videos, the next step in the series is going to be focusing on bodies. The video after that's going to be about bodies. The video after that's going to be about bodies, because there's just so much more to cover. Let's be honest, in today's video, the kind of stance that we used, very stale, very stagnant, be something for character design if you're doing like a turnaround, but it's not something you're going to want to use a lot in your cartooning work. It's just more getting you those proportions down. So we're going to see and learn how we can take what we learned today and kind of change that and learn how to skew the proportions and make more interesting characters and pose them and do action stuff with them. So there's a lot more to come and don't want you to miss out. As for me, I can be found online, bjdell.com, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at bjdell. So until next time, keep creating.